internet culture.
What if your memories no longer belong entirely to you? For most of human history, memory was fragile. It lived inside the mind, faded with time, and changed each time it was recalled. A childhood friend became harder to picture. The sound of a loved one's laughter slowly disappeared. Entire decades dissolved into scattered fragments. Forgetting wasn't a flaw. It was part of being human. Today, that is no longer the case. Our lives are archived. Every photograph, every message, every voice recording, every social media post, every embarrassing status update from years ago, every playlist, every late night search history, every tagged photo, every location check-in, they form an enormous digital record of who we once were. The internet has become something humanity has never possessed before, an external memory, and unlike our biological memory, this one rarely forgets. That changes more than how we remember. It changes who we believe ourselves to be. Nostalgia has always been a powerful emotion. A familiar song can transport us back to high school. The smell of old books can revive forgotten afternoons in the library. A family recipe can summon generations long gone. But digital nostalgia operates differently. It doesn't ask us to imagine the past. It replays it. Open an old messaging app and you can read conversations exactly as they happened years ago. Visit an old social media account and you'll encounter a younger version of yourself, preserved almost perfectly. Photo apps remind you where you were 5 years ago. Music streaming services reconstruct entire periods of your life through forgotten playlists. The past doesn't simply visit. It sends notifications. Every memory becomes searchable. Every version of yourself remains accessible. In many ways, we're living alongside our former identities. This creates a fascinating psychological question. If every previous version of you still exists online, where does the present you actually begin? Identity was once fluid because memory was incomplete. People reinvented themselves naturally. Moving to another city often meant becoming someone new. Leaving school behind meant leaving an entire social identity with it. Mistakes faded because evidence disappeared. Reputation slowly reset. Today, the internet remembers what people forget. Old opinions survive. Old photographs survive. Old friendships survive. Old failures survive. Even when we've changed completely, our digital footprints continue introducing strangers to people we no longer are. The past has become permanent, and permanence reshapes identity. Consider how often people scroll through old photos simply to remember who they used to be. Not because they miss that specific day, but because they're searching for continuity. We instinctively want our lives to tell a coherent story. We want to believe we've always been becoming the person we are today. Digital archives make that story visible, but they also complicate it. Sometimes we discover forgotten ambitions. Old journals reveal opinions we no longer hold. Past conversations expose insecurities we've overcome, or perhaps never truly escaped. Instead of remembering selectively, we're confronted with evidence. Our memories become less like stories, and more like databases. There's another paradox hiding beneath digital nostalgia. The more we document the present, the less fully we experience it. Have you ever attended a concert where thousands of people watched the performance through their phone screens? Or visited a breathtaking place only to spend more time photographing it than observing it? Sometimes it feels as though we're preserving memories before we've actually lived them. Experience becomes content. Moments become archives. Life becomes documentation. We often believe we're recording reality, but in subtle ways, we're recording ourselves performing reality. Social media intensifies this effect. Every profile becomes a carefully curated museum. We don't upload every moment. We upload selected moments. The successful vacation, the perfect meal, the meaningful achievement, the beautiful sunset, the smiling photograph. Over time, those selections become an edited autobiography. And eventually, even we begin remembering our lives through the highlights we've chosen to preserve. The archive quietly edits the memory. Artificial intelligence introduces another transformation. Imagine software capable of organizing every photo you've ever taken, summarizing your journals, recreating lost voices, generating conversations with loved ones who have passed away, or predicting what your younger self might have said. These possibilities no longer belong entirely to science fiction. The boundary between remembering and reconstructing is becoming increasingly blurred. When technology helps rebuild memories, where does memory end and imagination begin? Perhaps the most surprising consequence of digital nostalgia is that it changes our relationship with time itself. The past used to feel distant. Now it's only a search bar away. Yesterday competes with 10 years ago. Childhood exists beside adulthood on the same screen. Time collapses. Instead of moving away from the past, we continually revisit it. We become tourists inside our own lives. This constant accessibility affects emotional growth. Healing has traditionally required distance. Distance allowed perspective. Perspective allowed transformation. But digital permanence shortens that distance. An old message can reopen old wounds. A forgotten photograph can revive emotions that had quietly settled. A single notification can reconnect us with versions of ourselves we'd rather leave behind. Technology doesn't just preserve memories. It preserves emotional landscapes, yet digital nostalgia isn't inherently harmful. It also rescues what would otherwise disappear forever. Families separated by oceans remain connected through shared albums. Children inherit videos of grandparents they never met. Entire communities preserve traditions that might have vanished without digital archives. History becomes more personal. Memory becomes more democratic. Ordinary lives become worthy of preservation. Perhaps that is one of the internet's greatest achievements. For most of history, only kings, artists, and famous leaders left detailed records behind. Now nearly everyone leaves traces. Future generations won't merely study history. They all browse it. They all hear voices. They all watch birthdays. They all witness ordinary mornings. They all know what everyday life actually looked like. But there's one final question that digital nostalgia quietly asks us. Are we remembering ourselves? Or are we becoming the people our archives describe? Every photograph tells part of a story. Every post captures a particular moment. Every playlist reflects a passing emotion. None of them define a person. Yet together they begin constructing an identity that can feel more permanent than reality itself. Perhaps personal identity has never been a fixed destination. Perhaps it has always been an ongoing conversation between memory and imagination. The difference now is that memory has acquired a hard drive. And unlike the human mind, hard drives rarely let go. In the post-physical era, our identities no longer exist only within us. They exist across servers, timelines, cloud storage, forgotten accounts, and endless streams of digital traces scattered across the internet. Long after today's version of you has changed, those earlier versions will still be waiting, patiently, silently, ready to remind you not only of who you were, but to ask the question that may define the digital age. Are you living your life? Or are you living your archive?